I wanted to do one more thing before we go. We wanted to do a quick wrap-up of some of the other statewide races that Missourians will be voting on tomorrow, and we'll have a quick discussion, clarification of that. In the lieutenant governor's race, the Democratic candidate, former U.S. Congressman Russ Carnahan. The Republican is State Senate Majority Whip Mike Parson. There are also Libertarian and Green Party candidates. In the Missouri Secretary of State's race, a couple of candidates with familiar names, both trying for their first elective state office. The Republican, Jay Ashcroft, an attorney and son of former Governor John Ashcroft. And Democrat Robin Smith, the former TV news anchor, along with a Libertarian candidate. The Attorney General's race has Republican Josh Hawley, a lawyer and University of Missouri law professor, and Democrat Teresa Hensley, an attorney who served as Cass County prosecutor. The Missouri State Treasurer's race also has no incumbent. The Democratic candidate is Judy Baker of Columbia, a former state rep, and the Republican, State Senator Eric Schmidt from St. Louis County. Also, Libertarian and Green candidates. And so we have these other statewide races. Generally, we're looking, I think, at Attorney General, Secretary of State. When we get to Lieutenant Governor, people are wondering, what does the Lieutenant Governor do?
Preside over the Senate.
Preside over the Senate.
Correct.
But tell me of these, let's talk about Attorney General's race. What's at stake besides a Republican or a Democrat in these races?
Well, the Attorney General's office is an extremely important office. It does a lot of litigation that's very important to the criminal and civil justice system of the state. And oftentimes it can be a springboard to other things. Jay Nixon was Attorney General for 4 terms and became a 2-term governor. And although John Ashcroft as well, it's not a perfect springboard. Bill Webster was Attorney General, and I think he went to jail afterward.
Yeah, he had some other issues.
Well, but in this race, what's particularly interesting is that the 2 major candidates have very strong philosophical differences on what the office should be doing. Teresa Hensley, who's the Democrat, who's a former prosecutor, sees it more in line of prosecutions, is pointing out that the Attorney General's office has had to take a lot of cases from counties, rural counties, that they elect theirs and their prosecutors don't know how to handle death penalty cases or other things, and they kick it up to the AG's office. Okay, Hawley says he's fine with that, but he is from the school that sees it more philosophically. He used to be intern in the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court. He wants to do more to fight federal regulations like on the EPA, probably the Affordable Care Act maybe. He's very conservative on social issues like abortion. He's very closely tied to some of the conservative groups. So he sees it more as making a case for what Missourians want from the federal government. So he doesn't see that the prosecution role as much, other than he does say he will go after corruption in Jeff City.
And big picture, it kind of makes a difference whether you've got Democrats in those offices or Republicans or a balance. I mean, it seems a balance of power issue as well here.
It can be. Even like Lieutenant Governor, for example, if Russ Carnahan, the Democrat, wins and he presides over a Republican Senate, there is a feeling that the Democrats there may have a better sense of position on advocating for their issues. And also, these offices often do really important things politically. Secretary of State's office writes ballot summaries, and the way that these ballot summaries are written could cause some of these particular provisions to pass or fail.
Great, thanks guys. I appreciate it. I hope we've been helpful. You can get more information about where you vote, what's on the ballot, by going to 9net.org/voters. You still have a little time. And thanks to Joe and Jason from St. Louis Public Radio for helping us make some sense of this. You'll have a busy election night as well.
Yes.
I'm Jim Kircher. Good night. Thanks for joining us.